Hi, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. Now, today I want to talk to you about something that can be a little confusing for new script supervisors when they're first starting out, and that's how to count setups. All right. One of my subscribers left me a message in one of the comments, so I wanted to make sure that I covered it here in detail because sometimes visuals will speak a little bit louder than words sometimes. And maybe, if somebody's asking this question in the comments, I know maybe somebody else has the same question out there. So we're going to cover it here today. All right, so grab your notes and let's break down this process together. Okay, so Gamb8316 writes, "Hi, Monica, absolutely loving your videos. Thank you for that. I keep coming back to refresh what I have learned. I just have a quick question. It's about setups in the daily log. For example, if it's the first day filming and we have setup number one, scene one, and there are 5 takes, if we do the same scene from a new camera angle, the setup changes to number two, question mark? And the take starts at one again as it's the first from the new camera setup, question mark. Also, for the second day of filming, do you continue setup number wise? So if there were 3 setups on day one, you would start to day two as setup 4 if you were on a new scene, etc. I hope that makes sense. Just trying to get my head around it and how you log takes for the same scene from a different camera angle. Okay, so let's go over that. Okay, so here we have a sample script or scene that we're going to be working on. This is just made up. This is from a script that I worked on before. These are made up numbers. I just doing this for demonstration purposes. So we're working with scene 5. All right, so this is the beginning of the day. And the first scene, if you look up there on the top, we're going to label that scene 5, and there's 2 cameras, right? So we have camera A and camera B, and those are 2 different angles. We have a 50-50 of Rebecca and Jack, and then we have a medium shot of Jack over the right shoulder. So those are two different angles. So those are 2 different setups. So we've got setups 1 and setups 2. Then we will go to the next camera angle or a new setup, which is 5 Apple. We're going to give that 2 more setups. So, for example, now we have a close up of Rebecca and we have a close up of Jack. So those are 2 separate angles. So each one gets another setup. So we would continue it on from we've got 1 and 2, and then we go 3 and 4. So really the setup column on your log is really just to keep track of how many times you have a new angle and a new setup. All right, so you're going to give every setup a new number, or and the next number, I should say. So by the end of the day, you're gonna have the total of setups that you did that day. So, for example, at the end of this day, say we did 20 setups. All right, that's going to be the total number of setups you did that day. So let's look at our log and how that would look at the wrap report for the end of the day. Okay, so here are 2 mock-up wrap reports. So we have day 1 and day 2. Now, day 1 is first day of filming. You haven't shot anything. So we're going to just use the numbers that we used for the example of the scene 5 that we were working on. All right, so for previously shot, you're going to have 0, 0, 0 because nothing has been shot yet, right? And then in the shot today, you're going to put 4 setups, right? So you got 1 scene that you shot. Say you completed scene 5, so that's 1 scene, and you credited 6/8 of a page, and you only did 4 setups that day, which you were going to have a lot more setups that day, but I'm just, again, using this as an example. Then you're just going to carry those numbers down to totals to date, all right? Then in day 2, you're going to copy those numbers from day 1 and put those in the shot previously, okay? So you're going to put in day 2, in the shot previously, you're going to put scene 1 or 1 scene, 6/8 of a page, and 4 setups. Then on shot today, you're going to start your day with setup one again, like you did on day one. And you're going to go through the whole day and you're going to count how many setups you did that day. So then at the end of the day, you're going to put that total there. And again, you're going to have a lot more than this. I'm just using this for easy reference. Say you shot 6 setups on day 2. So you're going to add those 2 up, and then you're going to put 10 setups for that you have shot up to that point. All right. So let me explain to you why you're even doing setups. Okay, so you're probably asking yourself, well, why do we need to know how many setups we're doing that day? Well, it's very important to the producers, especially because they need to know how fast the production is moving, because again, time is money, right? So if they're not getting, say we did 40 setups yesterday, and then all of a sudden I write down that today we only did 15, they're going to say, well, why did we work so slow? Why did we do 40 setups yesterday? Meaning every time you move the camera, it's a new setup. So you did a lot of setups. And today we only moved the camera 15 times. So why was there such a difference? And that's where your notes in your production report are going to come in handy. You're going to say, okay, today we had a delay because it started to rain and we had to wait for the rain to stop, or we had hair issues. There was a hair issue and it took longer than we thought it was going to take, or we had baby issues, or we had animal issues, or we had prop issues. There could be a lot of different reasons why we had a delay, but this is how you communicate. You remember, you are the conduit from what's happening on set to the production office and the producer. So when they see that report, they say, oh, we only did 15 setups today. What happened? And then they look at your notes and they say, oh, because there was a delay with the rain, or the baby wouldn't stop crying, so we had to sit and wait for the baby to stop. And this is real important because these are going to be indications of maybe some departments are going to have to be switched out. I've had it happen before where the camera department were moving so slow they had to switch out the DP, or say they had a focus puller that basically couldn't get it, and he kept on having issues with the focus, and they had to do more and more takes to get it right, which means you're going to have less setups because you're doing more takes, right? So that could be that's a very serious problem for the camera department, because they need to know that they're moving along, so that they, because it's going to be their job if they're not doing the setups that they should. But then again, it might not be their problem or issue. It could be a different issue. Like, for example, say you have 4 locations that day, and I've had that happen before, where okay, well, today we're at the studio and we got to pack up and we got to go to the restaurant, and then from there we're going to be shooting inside the restaurant, and then we have to shoot outside the restaurant. So it takes time to move all that equipment from the studio to the restaurant, and then from inside the restaurant to the outside of the restaurant, and then maybe from there we're going to go to another location. It takes time to move an entire production company to another location. So in the notes you can say, today we moved 4 times, or whatever, or we had delays because we had hair problems. The humidity in the air made the wig frizz up and we had to switch it out or something. But you want to make those notes, because your notes are going to be very important for the production to know what happened that day, to see, okay, we didn't do that many setups. They're going to ask you, why didn't we do that many setups today? So that's where your notes come in. Okay, so remember, every time you change the angle of the camera, you're going to give it a new setup. But what if, say, you just creeped in just very slightly in the frame that you are? Are you going to give it a new setup? Not necessarily. Okay, there's situations where you're not going to change the scene number. You're just going to make a note. So, for example, say in this example here, you have the girl and you have her, on her desk, on her computer, and the DP says, you know what, I just want to get that money out of the frame. And he repositions it just a little bit. All right. and you've already done, say, 2 takes. Are you going to give it a new number? No, you're going to say, I'm just going to give it a take 3. But you got to make sure that you tell the camera department, because anytime, say the DP calls or walkies to the camera operator and says, hey, move in a little bit. The assistant camera operator is listening, and they're seeing that they're moving in. They're thinking, oh wait, we're going to have to change the number because we changed the shot, right? Well, if you're just creeping in just a little, I've had the DP say, no, just keep it the same, don't change the number, I just moved in just a little bit. Okay, fine. You got to make sure that you tell the camera department you're just going to give it a take 2. So if something like that happens, say, keep it the same, give it a take 3, I'll make a note. Just let them know you're going to make a note that it's creeped in a little bit. So it's take 3 is up. So sometimes when you're doing the takes, sometimes the camera department will just put the next take up, and you're just going, take 2's up, take 3's up, and sometimes they'll just automatically do it. But in this situation where the camera department sees that it's moved in a little bit, you got to make sure that you tell them, hey, no guys, they just moved in a little bit. Keep it the same. Give it a take 3. All right. You have to keep the communication going with your camera department, because they need to know what's going on. Because when that happens, they're going to think, well, what do we do? Do we give it another scene number, or is it another take? They're confused. So before they even think about it, you yell out, take 3 is up, guys, so that they know that they don't have to think about it. It's like, okay, just take 3 is up, and they just continue on. Because you don't want to frustrate the camera department when it comes to trying to figure out what the scene number is on the slate. All right. So you just have to make sure that you keep track of, what's happening with the frame. If it's just moving in slightly, just say, okay, I'm going to make a note, because it's not enough. If you look at the frames here, it's really not enough of a change, it's still going to be a medium shot girl, whatever it is. The second shot here is still going to be a medium shot girl. All you did was you just creeped in just a little bit. All right. So again, make sure that you keep the communication open with the camera assistant, so they know, if is it another take, or is it another scene number? And if it's another scene number, then you're going to make sure you write it down. Okay. So that's all I have on setups today. So I hope I've kind of given you a little insight as to why you need to have setups, and a little bit more of an explanation of how they're counted. But if you have any other questions, just leave them in the comments like I do. And, I might even do another video. Who knows? So anyway, that's all I have today. And please subscribe and give me a like, give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you're listening, and we'll see you on the next one.